What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I'm Katie Pettit, and today we have a top 10. It is Top 10 Tuesday, but you know what? I've said it before. I'll say it again. I can do whatever I want on this podcast because it's my podcast. And once again, we don't quite have a top 10 per se. We have a top 1/2 of 10. So, I mean, if you want to calculate all the logistics, we technically do have a top 10. Don't question that. That's accurate. You don't have to do any, you don't have to check that. I can assure you that it's accurate. We do have a top 10 today. There might be 5 things on this top 10, but it's still a top 10, logically. So, what is this top 10, and why is it only 5, you may ask? Well, it was interesting. When I was making it, it was originally going to be a top 10, but I was going to do top 10 Pixar movies. And I just realized that you probably aren't asking what top 10 it might be, because that's probably in the title of the episode. Anyway, but yeah, I wanted to do top 10 Pixar movies, but as I tried to make that list, I was looking through Pixar's list of movies, or whatever that's called. I don't know the proper term, but I realized that there just aren't that many Pixar movies. I mean, there are plenty, and they're like well-established studio and everything, but like I'm just thinking compared to like Disney or like even Marvel, they just don't have that many movies. They're like, I was getting to 10 and I was like, this is like a good chunk of their whole catalog, and some of them I'm not really even that into. I'm just trying to get to 10, and I don't want my list to be that. I want to be like, genuinely, these are my favorites, and if I don't have 10 favorites, then that's not really a top 10. It's just kind of 10. So we decided to shorten it down because I do have 5 like top Pixar movies. Just I couldn't find 10. Um, and I will give the disclaimer: there might be some movies, perhaps movie franchises, that are missing, that you think are just way too good or iconic or whatever. But I'm sorry, they just weren't for me. Perhaps I'll mention them as an honorable mention. But just they have never particularly gotten me, and that's okay. I have no problem with them. Just weren't my favorite. So, all right, let's go ahead. Start with number 5. With number 5, I made a risky decision, and I picked a more recent. It's like probably, geez, is it 5 years old already? That's weird. I don't even want to think about that. But it's still more recent than the other ones. Because at number 5, I have put the movie Onward. It's lower on the list because I just don't like it as much as the others, and because it has like one little part that's like, ugh, gross. Like it's like the tiniest little thing that you could even miss if you weren't paying that much attention. But it is still annoying. But other than that, it made the list because like, uh, it's crazy that they were able to make this movie like now, because I think this movie is like Pixar doing what Pixar does best, which is running on tears. Like, just absolutely like punching you in the heart 1,000 times throughout this movie. All of their movies, basically. And they're just very good at that, and they probably, whoever is in charge of this thing should probably like see a therapist, because I don't think it's a good skill to have in making people really, really sad and manipulating them. But they're really good at it. And sometimes that's just like, that's good writing, you know? I mean, most of the time it is. But yeah, honestly, the whole story behind Onward is just so nice. It's like, it's just a good story, you know? It's not, there's like really nothing bad about it. It's so like sweet, it's touching, it's well done. Uh and just the whole story about their dad and brotherhood and just like this whole deal with like all the like themes, everything. It's just great. Like the story, it's just really really nice, and it's just thoroughly enjoyable. They have like some great, super fun characters. Ian and Barley are just like their relationship is awesome and it's hilarious and it's also really nice. Again, their mom is great. Love their mom. Just yeah, the characters are super easy to like, just extremely likable. They're like it's cool because it's like all fantasy and stuff, but it's also modern, and I like how they did that. That's just kind of a nice vibe. I don't know. Is the word aesthetic? Because if it is, I'm not going to use that word because I don't like it. But it's just a nice vibe. Um, and just the whole movie is just it's just well done. It was like I expected good things, just like hearing the tiny little pieces of the story, and like they brought it together, and it's just a great movie. uh I would like so the thing that I'm about to say is something I can say for every Pixar movie I've ever seen, but it doesn't really apply here because again Pixar always does this. But one thing is that like you kind of have to you kind of have to be in the mood for these movies. Uh, yeah, like you can't just. I feel like you can't just go into a Pixar movie like on any day at any time because they get so heavy. They get so heavy. But and usually that would kind of affect my ranking because that affects how much I want to watch the movie, but all of these movies are that. So it doesn't really matter at this point. That's what Pixar is, honestly. Um, so yeah, onward, amazing story, just incredibly done. Even my dad likes it, so it's great. All right, number four is kind of contentious, contentious one. I feel like I used that word right, and if I did, I'm gonna be really proud of myself. But if I didn't, oops. I feel like this movie just isn't as. It's not one of Pixar's like most beloved films, and I don't know. Well, I do know why. Well, I don't know why because it's different for each person why they do or don't like it. Some people say it's like feminist, which I don't think it is, but like I don't know. I can see where you're coming from. I just don't personally see that in the movie. But like honestly, it's for me. Like first of all, it hits. There's a lot of stuff that is very relatable, so to speak, and it's just like the story is really nice, and it like emotionally scarred me as a child, and I kept coming back to it. It's still Pixar. It's yeah, that's what it is. But at number four, I have the movie Brave. Now, I don't know. I've just heard a lot of people say they don't like this movie. That's fine. It's up to you. Again, this table is so shaky. I'm sorry. Um, but I've always liked this movie. Maybe it's because I kind of relate to Merida a lot more than most of the other Disney princesses, only slightly less than Belle. Um, but like that's probably a big thing, but just I love her character. She's a great character to me. Like that's my favorite uh type, of character. Like just she's so like fun and like she just is great. She's great. She's different from like all the other Disney princesses, and I have nothing wrong with the other Disney princesses. I'm just saying that she is like catered to me because I really like her personality. She's super fun to me. But like also the relationship with her and her mom is awesome and also very relatable because like now like when I was little I didn't think too much about it, but now like I kind of see like it's the personalities between the daughter and the mom are very, I feel like, similar, kind of, in certain ways to me and my mom. But like, there are moments in the movie where like Merida does things, and I'm like, and I kind of like see the comparison between her and myself. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of, I guess I shouldn't, I shouldn't look at my mom this way, or stuff like that. And I think that's really good because in the end, like, the mom and the daughter both learn things that help them better, like, relate to one another. And I don't think any of the things that they learned was like wrong. Like, because she learned, which I think is great, and I think like a lot of movies wouldn't do that anymore. But like, they Merida learns to like respect her mother, which is something that I think a lot of movies with young teenage characters don't want to do anymore. They want to like overthrow the parents, but she learns like a lot more respect for her mom and like for her country and for like other people in general. She stops being uh self-centered, and her mom learns how to let her daughter, have a very different personality, and learns how to be okay with the fact that she's kind of different. But like, they both learn things. It's not just like the mom needs to change her perspective because the mom's a jerk, because you can totally see where the mom's coming from in the whole thing. But like, Merida's perspective is also very clear as well, and it's just, they just do that so well, showing the perspectives and stuff. As for like, there's like, it's a very exciting movie as well. There's a lot of really exciting scenes. The parts with the bears are like real, like, they feel very uh I don't know, exciting. Like, they're very actiony, and they just feel like they're like, the bears are like really dangerous, and they look scary, and it's cool. And just, archery is awesome, and she does that, so that's great. And the whole, like, the bear story is, I don't really have any particular like particular thoughts on that. I don't think it's like weird, like, necessarily, because there's like, movies do weird stuff all the time. That's not a problem. But they used it to do the story, and it worked. So there you go. um, but yeah, I just love this movie. It's like, I feel like it's just really relatable, honestly. And I feel like it does a lot of good things with how it works. Also, her brothers are great. As I okay, that's weird. She's the oldest and only girl of four. That's almost creepy. But her brothers, in some ways, remind me of my three brothers as well. But they're also great, and they're super funny. My brothers aren't like devils, though. They're not that bad, but sometimes. Uh, anyway. So, yeah. That one, it's just like, it's really relatable. And I've been watching it forever. And when I first saw it, I was crying really hard by the end of it, because I thought her mom was going to stay a bear. And I was like, I don't want to turn my mom into a bear. That sounds terrible. And little 7 or 8 year old me thought that I was going to turn my mom into a bear, and that she was going to be a bear forever. And that was very scarring. And so I continued to watch the movie. As you do with Pixar. So, Brave. Love it. Alright. Number three. I feel like most people like this movie, and I feel like it's very well deserved. I've like heard negative reviews of this movie, and I just don't get it personally. Like, obviously it's because it's a differing opinion, but I honestly don't get where they're coming from. Also, the review was like not in depth at all, and it was kind of just like, I don't like this movie. So, you know, I didn't really, I don't really understand. But I feel like mostly there's positive views, but like, it makes sense because of how just like smart and like innovative, I guess, this movie was. It was just like, it did some things that, like, I don't even know how you come up with these ideas, but you did, and it's just really, really good, and you're gonna get a lot of your tier money from this. Because number three, I have Inside Out. So just the whole concept of this movie is kind of crazy to think about. I just wonder how they came up with it. It's just, it's so clever. It's such a smart idea. And I love how they give that sort of like, just, I don't know, like realness almost to like this kid's brain, and show how like the your brain is like really complicated. It doesn't always do good things, and it's like it's so cool that how they did that, and that concept is just really great, and they do it really well. And there's just so many things like in the brain, like all these little things, like like just all the stations that they visited, the islands, the core memory islands, and it's just all these super imaginative ideas that like make sense with what they like represent in a kid's mind, and like how they change and everything. It just like it's such a wildly imaginative idea, but it works so well and it makes so much sense. And that to me is really impressive that they were able to pull off just the personification of a kid's brain. Like it's crazy. And of course, the story is amazing and it feels very realistic. Like this is like kids don't know how to react to stuff like moving or stuff like that, and they do drastic things sometimes. But and then it's got a good lesson, like it's okay to be sad and all these good things, and that like sadness and happiness can exist together and all of these great things, and it has no iffiness about it like at all. um and just the story is great, and we just you know Bing Bong is perfect, and we loved him so much. And you like Pixar, you scarred like thousands, like upon thousands of children with what you did to Bing Bong, you monsters. Um, but that is again, that's just kind of how you roll. But it particularly hit hard this time. I didn't even have an imaginary friend, and I was still like, oh, dang, that's rough, because it's like she's forgetting. I'm like, don't even like. How are you making me feel bad? I didn't have an imaginary friend to forget. I feel bad for like other kids forgetting their imaginary friends because because Bing Bong was so awesome, and then you're like, he has to be forgotten. But I'm like, it just the fact that I didn't even have one, and it still was so sad and is so sad. It's crazy. I don't know if I cried the first time I saw it. I was probably a little older when this came out, so I don't know if I cried. But it's just like it's still sad, and I wasn't like if I was little, I probably would have. So it's still very sad. And Bing Bong was great. Um, I want to see Inside Out too. I've not heard really anything about it. I can't tell from the trailers and stuff. It looks good? Question mark. I mean, I that's kind of how you have to look at like all new movies. It's like, oh, this looks good. Oh no, please don't screw it up. And then they do most of the time. But I've done some research, and there doesn't seem to be some things in there that would have kind of ruined the movie. So maybe I'll go see it. Maybe if I can find time, I'll go check it out. But like, it looks interesting. New emotions, puberty, yay! um, but even if the second one's bad, we will just remember that the first one was like an ingenious masterpiece with an awesome story and a great concept. So, Inside Out. Awesome. Alright. So, I used to say that this number two movie was my number one Pixar movie. And it goes back and forth sometimes between these two. But I don't even know. Like, there's just some certain connections that I'll talk about with number one that just are like most of the time pushing it just a little bit over number two. But I've always loved number two, and sometimes I've said it's my favorite. If it's not, it's a extremely extremely close second. It's like 1A. It's not even number two. It's like 1A. But at Number two, we have Wally. Um, so yeah, like I feel like there's not. I just can't imagine why you wouldn't like this movie. Like, I mean, I really can't. I know there's people who don't, and I respect that, but I just can't imagine. It's not within my realm of imagination because it's a masterpiece, dude. They do every single thing right. It's creative. There's like it's silent for like half of the time, but it's still awesome and that's super impressive and awesome. Like it just looks great and the robots are adorable and I love Wally's voice and that's all working towards it. It's a really interesting idea. I don't think it's particularly preachy, but it's interesting and kind of funny. The fat humans, the fat, like, wobbly leg baby humans are great. And see, that could happen. Like, I feel like that could happen. Uh, but, and like the whole life that is going on with these people and how they live and all the robot it's just like the ideas and the stories are all very very cool and unique and just well done and the story works out all very well it makes sense and you have the ending with like the potential for a whole I was about to say a whole new world, but that's Disney. But a whole like everything coming back together and being fixed because of Wally. And Wally is like one of the most likable movie protagonists ever. Because first of all, he's adorable. Like, let's just get that out of the way. He's a trash robot, but he's the cutest trash robot I've ever seen, and the only one. Don't do garbage trucks count as trash robots? Anyway, I don't want to try to unbox that right now. Um, so anyway, Wally's really cute, and he's just like he does all the right things, and he's always trying to be so helpful. I mean, he's programmed to, but like he's trying to be the most helpful little guy and it's great and the love story between him and Eva is also great because she's not as like cute and fun and bubbly but she's like they just have an adorable little dynamic and it's just so cute and their whole story is so fun and so easy to like and it's like in the backdrop of this really interesting future space like planet rebirth story that's really cool and highly entertaining and then there's just so many moments that are just so memorable like the part I the part where like Wally is almost about to die like I don't even like think about it like I know that it's coming but I don't even like try to be like, oh, this is gonna be sad because like I know it's gonna be sad, and then it is sad, and I'm like, dang, like I don't even have to, I don't know, brace myself for it because I'm just like, this is so like this moment is so well done. Just like let's be sad because this is supposed to be sad, so let's do it. Like it's great. It's very well done, and it's just a very well made movie. It's so easy to enjoy. There's really nothing about it that really takes you out of enjoying it, honestly. Like I don't know what would. I just can't see anything to not like about it. The only thing I've really heard is that it's preachy. I don't see it, but if it's too preachy, then that's you know okay. But to me, it's just like every moment of this movie is just pure enjoyable. Like it's just you have a good time the whole way through. You're interested the whole way through. Characters are great. It's just great. There's very little or basically nothing to not like about this movie. Um, there's also basically nothing not to like about our number one, obviously. So the number one movie like I was saying, I have some ties to it that just give it a slight edge over Wally. First of all, it's more of like an action like it's much more like action packed and actiony than Wally, which is more my type of movie. And my dad loves it. It's my dad's favorite one, which is not why it's my favorite one. I'm just saying that I've watched it a lot, and I have like if my dad likes it, then I'm gonna think it must be pretty good, and then if I also like it, then it's just gonna make me like it more because he likes it. But not because I'm not basing it off of his liking. I'm just saying it has a big influence on whether or not and how much I like it. Um, and just like yeah, it those things give it a little bit of an edge and make it number one because it does all the Pixar things. But it's it has those other little things about it. So the movie I'm talking about is The Incredibles, number one, because number two was iffy. It was quite a big decrease in quality from the original. I don't think it was terrible, just like if you even look at the original, it's like, oof, we did not get there. we didn't even really, we didn't even, we like, probably couldn't even look up there. We it was up there, and then we were kind of like down there, which is better than like all the way down. Like it's not down in like the depths of the bad movies, but it's like Incredibles is like all the way up into the sky. So but we're not here to talk about Incredibles 2. We're talking about the first Incredibles, which is a Disney, well, Disney Pixar superhero movie, the first one before Big Hero 6. And, that wasn't really a thing that had happened. They were, obviously, Disney is more about the feels and the songs and all of that kind of deal. Pixar less the songs, more the feels, much much more the feels, particularly the tears. But The Incredibles does still have a lot of the vibe of a Pixar movie, but it's also a superhero movie, which is great for me. I love a good superhero movie, and this is a great superhero movie. All of the action is awesome, super exciting, super engaging. All their powers are cool. Um, Dash's super speed looks great. Uh, Violet's little bubbles, they look real cool, and Stretchy Girl is weird, but I'm here for it. And then of course we love Baby on Fire. Oh no, I did not see. You know what? Moving on. So, but yeah, hi. There's a cat in my room. Hi, cat. So all of the like action stuff is awesome. All the superhero stuff is awesome. Very superhero. We love it. Instant appeal to me. But there, like the other strength of this movie is that it's a really good like family movie, and I don't mean like necessarily a movie that a family. Hi, hello. Movie that a family can watch together. I mean like a movie about a family and about like being a family, and it's really, 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 really good. And it does very well at like portraying that. Like really well, really realistically. The husband wife relationship is just very realistic. They have like real problems, but they obviously like love each other a lot. But they have like real issues between each other, like, and they keep secrets, and that screws things up. And then you know, uh, the children's problems weren't as like serious, but they were still very realistic for a kid. For a girl and a boy, the ages of Violet and Dash, though, made perfect sense. Um, and then Jack is just there, but he's great. He doesn't have any struggles yet, and he's just a flaming baby, and it's awesome. Um, please don't. Never mind. So yeah, the characters are all great, and we love Frozone as well. He's super fun, super great, best friend, superhero, ice powers, awesome. Uh, Samuel L. Jackson also great. It's one of the roles that like Samuel L. Jackson says words that are not bad. It's one where uses some self control, and that's great because he's a great actor. Just needs to take it down a notch, and he did, so it's great. Um, but yeah, like it's two like kinds of movies. It's a superhero movie, and it's also like a family portrayal kind of movie. And they go like the way they put it together super 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 well is just like, and they both of the elements are really well done and they go together perfectly and it just works. Everything about this movie just works. The only thing a little iffy about it, like just maybe don't think too hard about the scene where Dash kind of kills some bad guys. Probably kills them. But you know, little bit. There's some much more serious moments in this one, but that can also be a big plus. You know, if they do it well and they don't go overboard, it can be pretty cool. And I think they did that there as well. Um, and I don't think Dash knows he killed anyone, so he's not. He's probably doesn't have any issues about that. um, I don't know. Maybe he should, but whatever. But yeah, honestly, everything about this one is awesome. So yeah, gotta love The Incredibles. But yeah, that's my top five, one half of 10 Pixar movies of all time as of now. I don't know if they're probably. I don't see them coming out with anything that's gonna change the list, but you know what? Anything's possible. Kind of. At this point, I don't really know. But yeah, those are my favorite Pixar movies. So, obviously, my question is going to be: is a car or is a garbage truck a trash robot? Debate that amongst yourselves, and maybe I'll ask what your favorite Pixar movie is. But mainly, I want you to answer: is a garbage truck a trash robot? So, uh, and yeah, do all the normal stuff, like, follow, share, all the things. Do it, please. And I'm gonna see you next time. Thank you for watching.